And away we go. Oh, we got a hot one for you guys tonight. We got a hot one. We got a little follow-up to our 2 cents when a fellow firefighter down in Atlanta got railroaded for doing his job, his job. You might recognize that handsome face over there. It's Double D's Danny Dwyer.
He is pretty handsome, actually.
Thank you. Listen, you guys asked for it. We got him. We pulled some strings, right, Louis? We had to put out the hooks. We had to
big hooks. We had big hooks on.
We had to use our underground moles. We had to do everything we could to get a hold of this fella. What's that?
Speaking of which, Kev, you know about the underground mole that we had on the inside.
Yeah, I don't even think Danny knows this, bro.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So anyway, we made some calls because we know some pretty people in high places. You know what I'm saying?
We're big people. We're big. We're something. We're something.
And we actually got. I don't even know if you know if this tape exists, bro. But we actually have the tape of what was it, Chief Randall Slaughter, when they actually brought you in and they actually taped the sit down with you when they were bringing up charges and shit.
It's a real deal. We got it.
So you want to roll it? This is how it went. Roll it, kid.
Yep.
First time.
All right, here we go.
First time ever seen, right? Probably first time Danny's seen it.
Probably so.
Yeah,
here we go.
I would call your lawyer.
Yep.
Stand by.
Sit down, Danny. Danny, I think you know why you're here, so I'll do us both the courtesy of not reviewing what happened yesterday.
I swear I didn't tell anybody anything, sir.
Good. Good. You know, despite what happened, I'm still convinced you have very fine qualities, and I think you can still become a gentleman someday. If you understand and abide by the rules of decent society. The most important decision you can make right now is what do you stand for, Danny? Goodness or badness?
I know I've made some mistakes in the past. I'm willing to make up for that. I want to be good.
Good. Good. Very good. Are you my pal, Mr. Scholarship winner?
Yes, sir. I'm your pal.
How about a Fresca?
Oh.
Huh?
Wow.
There it is. That's how it went. Something like that, bro.
Dude, you just made my night. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
You know, Danny, I worry about you a little bit. You might fold under questioning.
You might fold under question. Yeah, you guys look pretty chummy. I don't know what the hell was going on there. You guys were all pals.
All right, so that being said,
I had no idea what was coming up. That was amazing.
The word of the day, Pete, is Danny.
Are you my pal, Danny? Are you my friend, Danny?
Danny? What do you guys drink?
Oh, look at Pete post something out.
Mamma mia.
Oh, he put his little girly panties away, did he?
Oh, he did. He passed the stone.
Nice.
There you go. He passed the stone, and all of a sudden he put his big boy pants on.
Drinking a Fresca.
Dan,
All
I
right,
was waiting all day for that thing. I swear to Christ, I was
laughing so hard.
How about a Fresca? Danny, are you my friend, Danny?
Are you my pal, Danny?
I want to be good.
Pete, are you my friend? Pete, are you my friend, Danny?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, you know, it's funny because while I get to see everybody's faces in the chat while we're rolling video, and you were rolling, Danny. So that was pretty hilarious. Awesome.
All right, so let's get serious.
Let's get to it now. Come on now.
Let's get to it. Tell us about where you started before the actual incident, because we want to blow by blow about how that happened and how you got fucked, basically. But tell us where you were before you went there. You became lieutenant. Give us the whole
spiel. Give us the spiel.
Dwyer story.
Right. Okay. So in 1999, I started with a department about where I live now, about 45 minutes north of the city. And suburban department, it was combination at the time. Spent about 4.5 years there, and was kind of like a lot of people. We got fire engineering at the firehouse, and I was sitting around reading all these magazines, trying to figure out what else was out there. And it was a great department. I love the guys there. Nothing bad to say about them, but I just kind of outgrew it. Is the best way I can describe it. And it started applying to the city probably about 2000 or 2001. And it's a long selection process, so I went back every year, took the test again, and ended up making a quick pit stop at an apartment next door to Atlanta. Very busy department. Didn't have any intentions on leaving there. And then in 2004, I got a call from the city and slid over in February of 2005. So
were you able to keep your time?
No, Georgia's a little bit different than a lot of places. So we've got a state pension fund, but at the same time, when you move from municipality to counties to different departments, your time starts over. So collectively, yes, but pension-wise, no, I pretty much started over.
Atlanta is obviously the biggest department in the area, right? Is that
correct? Yeah, correct.
How many people do they have on the job?
So we're according to statistics, we're supposed to have around 1,200. We're a little bit shy of that currently. A lot of attrition going on, a lot of retirees, stuff like that. So, but yeah, call volume wise, the department I work for next door, we're neck and neck just about every year, right around $100,000. But yeah, I always wanted to work for the city and be a city fireman, and that's
now,
why
Atlanta,
I decided to make the jump.
Atlanta has areas, good areas, bad areas. Everybody wants to work in the bad areas. How does that work?
It's probably similar to your job. Guys gravitate where they want to be, and
right.
So we've got some really rough areas, a lot of firework, a lot of fire duty rather. We've got really nice areas with a bunch of money. They don't do a lot of fires, but we've got a big mix. We've got $25-30 million homes in Buckhead. We've got $10,000 houses.
I got you. All right, so it's similar. It's similar, just on a smaller
got
scale.
A little bit of a Ghetto over there.
Oh yeah. Which is where that's where the fires are. So a lot of people.
So you come on the job. You go to a truck. You own an engine. How does it work?
So at my department, we didn't have assignments to rigs. We mostly just bounced back and forth. So I went to a single engine house on the east side of downtown for about 7 months. Slid over to a double company in the battalion, which was a battalion house. It was a great station I wanted to be at. I did about 4.5 years there. And again, with us, you don't have an assigned rig. So, one day you're on the back of the engine, next day you're riding the seat, you're driving, you're tiller in the truck, you kind of bounce around. Spent about 4.5 years at Tens over in Grant Park. May Driver went to 14, which was one of our special operations companies. Stayed there as a driver, drove the engine for about a year.
Special operations in what way? What do they run rescue or they run a squad?
So at the time when I went there, we've got one heavy rescue that services the entire city. They do hazmat, they do high angle, confined space, whole 9 yards. They cover it all. And at the time, we were during budget cuts of 2008. The squad was taken out of service. So it did not come back up until I believe late 2010, if memory serves. So at the time, we basically fanned everything out across the city. 14s, where I was assigned, was the collapse portion. We had a Georgia Search and Rescue, a GSAR rig up in Buckhead on the north side of the city. We had the squad itself is normally a downtown company. It was assigned in the northwest part of the city. The rig was basically parked there and was brought into service as needed by the engine company that it was quartered with. So
the squad is the rescue then?
Correct. Yeah, it's our rescue.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I like it.
Yeah, it was cool. 288 guy, right?
In the end, we could do everything they can do, right? I used to say we could do more than them. We do the hazmat stuff, right?
You do
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's some Rescue 4 guys in here that's going to start chiming in any second.
Right.
Is Milner watching? Maybe he's going to chime in.
Oi.
Oi. All right. So when do you study become an officer?
Took the test in 17. and made it out. Went to I was assigned to double house on the southeast side of the city for about 2.5 years. There's a whole other story to this, but yeah, did a double company for about 2.5 years on the south side. Went back downtown to Station 1, our company 1, which is I guess our last true downtown company. Spent about 9 months there, and then there was a huge turnover citywide and got shotgun blasted across about 2 miles away to 16s, which ended up being a phenomenal assignment. It's in probably one of the worst neighborhoods in the city. A lot of history over there, but it's a rough area. It's pretty banged up, bad drug situation over there. But there was a ton of first to fire, which was
really,
I mean,
he showed some of those pictures down of the fire. He sent a lot of fire pictures in.
Coming up.
So Danny, it seems like you do is that just you moving around trying to get to more work, or do guys do like these 7 month, 8 month, a year type of thing?
Actually, I was going to ask him, Ruffy. He seems like he gets around. I don't know who gets around more, him or your old lady. Oh, him, bro. Yahtzee.
So normally no. A buddy of mine asked me the other day, he's like, how long? We've got guys that are career drivers that stay at one station for 25 to 30 years.
Wow.
During the administration that a few years back, they just decided we had a 7-year run of not a lot of stuff going on because of lawsuits and whatnot, and with regard to promotional exams. So once everything was done, they kind of just, there you go. And everybody I lucked out. There were a lot of guys that got put on 40-hour jobs and inspections, moved out to the airport. I mean, I cannot say that.
Yuck.
Yeah, yuck is right. I made out like a fat rat, really, at the end. But it was different. I had when I was at my first 2 assignments as a lieutenant were phenomenal assignments, great captains to work with. We run with a double company in Atlanta. You have a lieutenant on the engine, captain on the truck. So it's kind of a junior grade officer position. So I had phenomenal captains, the whole time. But the first couple of years, I wanted to go back downtown, so I slid back to ones, and then ended up getting blown out of there a few months later, which at the time sucked. I didn't want to go. I had we had a phenomenal crew at the time. We kind of had lightning in a jar for about 7, 8, 9 months, whatever it was. Anyway, go to 16s. This is, one of our fires right here. It was a blast. I can't say
that's the area that's mostly in the ghetto area. Or?
Yeah, it's a rough area. And
those jobs, you do a lot of vacant work there.
Oh, I literally was telling somebody the other day, in 2.5 years there, I think if memory serves correctly, and I'm pretty sure I've got it, 5 or 6 occupied dwellings in 2.5 years.
Wow.
But we've also got squatters in.
Yeah. In the end, but it's just
which is probably even worse because who knows what those building shapes are in, or they got.
Yeah, look at that building right there.
This is my favorite one though. This is the front of the building, right?
Capt? Yeah, looks good.
Yep.
And here's the back.
Yeah, man. That reminds me of a mullet, bro. Business in the front, party in the back.
Well, and the thing is, I was having a talk with the first new captain that was there, and I was like, bro, we got this. And he's like, walk around the back, and I was like, oh, so that's walking around the back. Well,
yeah, that's like when you're in the building and you're at the line and you're telling the chief, yeah, give me 2 more minutes, we're knocking it down. No, he's like, come on out.
Right.
Yeah, you come out, and the 3 stories above you are all on fire except the little spot that you were standing in.
Danny, what do you guys ride with? How many guys on the ladder? How many guys on the engine?
Normal staffing for us normally is 4 on the engine, 3 on the truck. We run, with the exception of, we've got 5 straight sticks. We've got 4 mid-mount straight sticks and 1 tower ladder. Everything else we've got are tractor-drawn aerials or tiller trucks. So generally on the trucks, you get 2 drivers and a boss.
Right.
So engines usually are staffed with 4. But it ebb and flows I don't know, like a lot of places. But, we have, when I first made lieutenant, we didn't drop below 8, in the company for a long time.
Right.
We had, 5 on the truck, 4 on the engine for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden, a big wave of people that were hired between, 80 and 82, they all leave at the same time, and boom,
right.
Down to 3 and 3. So it kind of, it goes back and forth.
You said you had a couple of tiller rigs there? Very cool, man.
Yeah, we've got a few.
Here comes the shameless plug, Roofy.
I love it. I knew it was coming already.
Right here, bro. Tell him and do it better from the rear. You know what I'm saying, bro? Getting salty apparel. Do it from the rear.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
No, it's not.
I just want to know: are you my pal, Danny?
Are you my pal, Danny? How about a fresca, Danny?
All right. So when do you study for captain? Then did we pass that? Am I drinking too much already? Are you captain yet? Did we get to that?
No. Yes. So got out in September of 19. Got assigned to a single engine company on the west side of Atlanta, due west of downtown, and that's where I retired out of as of May 28th this month. May 28th this month.
Really?
Yep.
So you were captain. How long were you a captain for then?
Roughly?
So a year, and you said
no, 8 months. I guess 8 months. I went there in September, and I'm leaving out in in a couple weeks officially. So
okay, so let's talk about the lead up to that job. That day, box comes in. What time were you at? Were you working? What are you doing? Because that's what everybody wants to hear about.
Right. So I was still assigned as to Company 16 as a lieutenant back in June of last year. I believe it was the 28th. Captain was off that shift. Slid over, was in charge of the truck that day, and I think the fire came in around 1 o'clock in the morning. First thing that came out of when our tones drop, they tell you what box it is right off the bat. So if it's 16s, it's box 0016. If it's so anyway, long story short, it comes in 009. So that was odd for us because we don't run that far southwest normally, even on the truck. So immediately you're kind of going, it says box 09, and then the first due engine is 22, and then 28, and then 17. So everything kind of, you're shaking the cobwebs off at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then trying to figure out on the way there, look at the computer, what the hell's going on, basically.
Right.
So those guys are at a different box at this point, is what you're saying.
Correct. So come to find out, we had a pretty long ride. We were probably pushing 10 minutes.
Holy wow,
10 minutes.
Downtown for us, that's a freaking eternity, so something was up. And I was looking at the computer on the way down there, and I'm like, holy shit, the first three pieces of equipment that were assigned to that address were all tied up on the same incident.
So is there more information coming in that leads you to believe you're definitely going to work there, or you got a job? Or?
I don't recall. I know we did not get the official word on an entrapment until the first due officer got there and gave it on his update from a 360. So we were, I kept hitting the refresh button on the computer, and I just remember it saying house fire. I don't know what it came up
with.
But
the dispatcher, once they give you the run, I don't know how, like in the FDNY, they'll call you on the radio if they're getting numerous calls to 911, they'll let you know, so you're prepared. They don't do that there.
No, we don't get that. So very, very rarely will you get like, hey, we're getting multiple calls, blah, 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 blah. So I think the comments might even just said house fire. So, whatever. It is what it is. 22's first due rig gets there. And again, for us, this house was about a mile and a half away from the closest firehouse. And they were out of service on a separate incident. So it was a hell of a run for the first due engine to get there. I think they got there somewhere around 7 minutes and 50 seconds, 7:55. And the guy that was driving did some magic stuff, because to get from where they were to get to down there in 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes is a hell of a feat. So good job, Hoop.
So he was driving like he stole it.
Driving like he stole it. Yeah. So they get there, pull up. First due captain gives a working fire. We had a 1-story frame, 4-sided brick over a basement on the Delta side. So very typical house for that area. These were all built in the 60s. They're 1,200, 1,400 square foot ranches. Nothing to them. And
we call that a shed.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Danny.
Yeah, no. Hey, man, it is what it is. So anyway, they get there. He goes through the motions, gives his size up, and goes out, does a 360, what we call a walk around, and he comes back up and is keyed up, to say the least, from hearing him on the radio. Yeah, this captain's a very good friend of mine. He's a hell of a fireman, and he's cool as a cucumber on fire. So when he's amped up, something's up. So we're hearing this coming in. He gives a confirmed entrapment and assigns the second due engine to reverse out and secure water supply. So second due engine comes in, noses up to the first due, drops 5-inch, and he lays out about 4 or 5 sticks.
Now, Danny, there's hydrants on these blocks, or what are they doing?
Yeah, but again, another weird where the house was to where the plug was. We've got hydrants every 200, 250 feet. Normally, this was just in a weird spread. So 500 feet for us again is a bit of a put. But again, they did it.
Do we want to see the? Do you guys want to see the video? Should I pull that up?
We can get to that in a second.
Yeah, let him get to the point till he's. We're not.
Danny, how does he know that somebody's trapped in there?
I was just going to ask that, Kev. Actually,
I think if memory serves, the neighbors were outside and we're pretty much, and this neighborhood's different than the neighborhood that I was. Sorry, I had to get some ice.
Nice.
The neighborhood I was.
Oh, Danny, you my pal, Danny.
So, any rate, he gives a after his update on his 360, says he has a confirmed entrapment, starts dishing out assignments, assigns a second due engine to water supply, third due engine with rapid intervention company, and we pulled up probably about 45 seconds after his update, if memory serves. And we rolled in just behind the first due truck. And in the city, your first truck generally is search or vent, whichever one takes preference. And then the second due truck is going to do the opposite of whatever they're doing. So first due truck gets there. I'm assuming they've got, primary. And again, I can't say enough about the captain that was in charge at that night. And when we arrived, he gave a weird assignment. Is the best way I can describe it. I don't remember if he said, "Come up and help me, come give me a hand." It was not a clear assignment. So I told my 2 drivers, so when you get your stuff on, come meet me on the A side of the building. I'm going to go get an assignment from Dave. So
if it's not to interrupt you again, if it's a 1-story, you guys are all searching and venting and doing your thing on the first floor. That's it, really.
So one truck company is venting and one truck company is searching. Is that how it works?
That's how it works. Now we've got the ability to kind of mold things the way we want to. If we see that search is always a priority, but if we can't search because of conditions, we're going to vent first, and the second truck will get the search. So it kind of we've got the ability as company officers to do what the situation dictates, right? So, any rate, we get up there. I have a face-to-face with the engine captain that was in charge at the time. At the same time, battalion's pulling up. They take command, and as we're having a face-to-face, and he looked at me and said, "Danny, I need a search." Okay, man, no problem. Battalion gave us a search over the radio and acknowledged it. The first due truck was already on the porch working on the burglar doors. We had doors, burglar bars and doors all the way around the entire house. So they're working on the door. We get our stuff on, and again, we were running a 105-foot TDA with myself and 2 drivers. So drivers had their night pants on, had to get off, get their tools and equipment, BAs, and the rest of their gear. So it took them a couple, a minute and a half or whatever to get up there. So when the first due truck popped the door, we had let me back up real quick. So as you're walking up to this thing, and I think, Pete, you may have the picture, you had moderate smoke pushing out the front. It wasn't your typical, your turbulent, nasty, bad stuff. It was a fire on a BC corner of a 1-story frame.
It wasn't coming out chunky.
That's it.
It wasn't bad. If you look at it, everybody's been to a 1-story frame with fire on the first floor on a BC corner. This is what you had. You had smoke permeating out the front. When they popped the door, we had a beautiful lift. We had smoke pulls up. I'm 6'4", and we had smoke probably about shoulders to chest high on me. So
is that fire through the roof there? I mean, is that rolling out somewhere? What is that?
That's been a topic of discussion a fair amount. I think it was blowing through the BC corner when we got there, out the 2 windows on the Bravo Charlie side. At this point, it might have gone through the roof, or it was pushing pretty good. But again, first towards the A side is money. You got 3 sides here that are viable spaces to search, right? So again, car in the driveway in the picture. Nobody's out front. Neighbors are there. So we got a pretty good indicator. Everything's pointing. We got to confirm entrapment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I was on the front porch. They gave the first due truck, asked them to open up, start getting burglar bars off the windows for egress. Signed our truck company search. And when they pushed in, when engine company pushed in, I gave them a couple feeds of hose. And based on the conditions that we had, I elected to go in with the engine and start the search.
As you were told to do search by who?
Correct.
By the chief?
By the first due battalion chief that was in charge. Yeah.
Right. All right. Now he wasn't the guy. He wasn't Sergeant Slaughter, right?
No, he was not Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter.
And let me interrupt.
Did he come out and go, "Let me tell you something, brother"?
Let me ask you one question because you mentioned something. I can't let it go. Night pants. Like I'm picturing like SpongeBob pajamas or something. I don't know what are the night pants?
Bunker pants. That was I think I picked it up. I think that was an Atlanta term from way back when they were still in day boots. They had their day boots and they had their night pants they could jump in at night. So that was but yeah, I guess that's an Atlanta.
So what do you do? Then you have to change when you get there?
No, it's your bunker pants. You jump out of you're in shorts.
Oh, you're calling them night pants. I don't know. It sounds like pajamas.
That's what I thought. Like,
whatever you want, Lou.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And I'll let you make.
What the fuck is that?
So bunker pants.
Nice.
Night pants.
Yeah, night pants.
I got you.
Day boots, night pants.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro. Yeah,
so anyway, they pushed in. We had a great lift, good visibility, and I decided to start the search then. Given the conditions that we had a really good shot for a very successful rescue.
Right.
Stepped in the front.
Let me just stop you right there. So you're told to do a search.
Correct.
You know that there's somebody. If you had to bet 99.9%, there's somebody in there, and the conditions were great at that time. It wasn't that far back down. The fire wasn't blowing, so conditions were optimal for you to make a okay. I had to get that in my mind before I start talking about Sergeant
I want something that's sticking out to me before you get started again. So you're the second due truck there.
Correct.
How are you the first guy in the door? I'm not saying that's not my favorite thing in the world. I'm just saying how are you? You said you were there a minute after those guys.
Right.
Well, they were given the assignment of taking the bars off. I think the first.
They were, but at the same time, that was their search all day long. And the captain that was on the truck's a buddy of mine, and I'm like,
come on,
sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So,
dude, that's we would pray for that when we would show up to a job. If somebody was giving the ole. You know what the ole is?
Yeah.
Ole. Here you go. You're in.
And it again. Matty got fucked on that one, but it is what it is. But
you know why he got fucked on that? Because Danny, are you
Danny? So, hold on 1 second. Another thing that's sticking out in this brain of mine as I'm thinking this.
Yeah.
So you guys, they pop the door. Is the fire right there?
No.
All right. So how is the engine going in first? That's what I don't understand.
So, and you and I talked about this the other day. The way we operate, and this goes from company to company. If I'm riding the truck, I want to get in the door first. Get a good search, go to the fire, like we talked about, find it.
Yeah, otherwise the engine's banging into everything. I mean, what are they doing?
Right. And again, this is a very aggressive engine company. Great, very experienced officer. He made the push and protected the rescue, which is exactly again. That's normal for us. Both of these situations are normal. So they went in, again, pushed in to what ended up being a hallway. So the A side of the building, so the front side of the building was a living room, bedrooms down the Delta side, making the turn towards the Charlie. I believe there was a bedroom and a bathroom back there. Going towards the Bravo, dining room down the Bravo wall, and kitchen on the BC corner. So what ended up being a kitchen fire.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Right. So engine goes in, goes straight into the hallway, goes back left, and they start working it back there. When I went in, I took a look towards the Bravo side, wiped my face piece off, took a look with the camera, saw some good fire rolling around a cased opening,
nice.
Which ended up being which ended up being from the dining room into coming towards the front door because we just opened up the door.
Right. So it's coming. That's what you want. I want to see it.
Yeah. Coming to eat. So,
oh, I like that.
At any rate, made my way over. I crawled about 12, 15 feet towards the Bravo side. Got my way to the cased opening, looked down the Bravo wall towards the Charlie side, and the whole ass end of the house is burning up. And I just remember thinking, it's gonna be a hell of a fire for somebody. It's gonna be, it's a good work.
Nozzle job, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And looked down and had a victim at my knees, to my surprise. So, again, I've tried to make it a point to for several years now to, when you crawl in, you crawl to and expect people, right? That way you don't miss them.
Uh-huh.
And at any rate, tried to get out on the radio to let them know we had, that we had a victim, and a lot of radio traffic this time, again, entrapment calls. So we got people saying they have water supply and doing this and doing that. So unable to get on the radio. I pulled her. She was probably halfway through the cased opening. So had a nice, easy, straight shot to the front door, past a coffee table and a couple chairs, and started pulling her. I got her probably 6 feet. And
now, did you stumble on her, or you kind of seen her when you got there, or
I crawled over the case opening because they, as I'm sure you guys did, you go to the seat of the fire and search back, right? So
yeah, nice.
Got over to what I thought was the seat of the fire, and probably could have pushed into the dining room a little bit more to give it a good sweep, and found her at the case opening.
Nice.
So,
legit, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it. Right place at the right time, wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know.
That's it. It's all luck. In the end, you just put yourself in the position, really. But that sounds to me like
if you were here, you're going to medal day.
Listen, the bottom line, right? The bottom line is if the fire was at the door and the engine opened up and started pushing in, and you were the first truck and you followed them in,
right?
It's luck of the draw. You go left, somebody goes right. You find somebody, they live.
That was a lot of discussion about that. People asking via Facebook and emails and stuff like that. I have there's no doubt in my mind that the captain on the engine was probably searching the bedrooms.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
When there's two
no doubt about it.
Somebody swinging out. And
I'm not throwing them under the bus. I'm just saying that's not how we normally do it. The engine officer still goes in, but the line's not following him in. That's what I'm saying.
Right. We make it a habit to the engine. At least I did, and I know a lot of officers that did the same thing. The engine boss, whoever's on the line, he's the first one through the door, and kind of brings the kid, brings the kid in. But again, I have no doubt in my mind that he was searching on the way in. And anyway, got to her and pulled her about 6 feet, and conditions went from money, very tenable, and the visibility and heat hit the floor real quick. Everything that I saw at that night indicated a flashover. I don't know if it'll ever be defined as a violent rollover, smoke explosion. There's hostile fire event.
It's called fire.
It's unpredictable. Go figure. I don't know.
Right. But this was predictable, unpredictable. This one was everything that I had seen in a flashover can, simulator.
That's right. You did that anyway, so you know what's going on.
It was to me. That's what it was. But at any rate, it starts to light off. And
now hold on, Danny. Just again, I don't want to keep cutting you off. So the engine's ahead of you, correct? And they're hitting fire somewhere, right? I mean, they have the line open. Right. They're hitting fire.
Yeah, we had come to find out afterwards. Seaside egress door was burned away. Front door was open. The door from the basement to the first floor was open or burned away. So yeah, we had a bunch of air tracking, flow, whatever you want to call it now with the whole flow path thing. It was just a shit show. It was like a kind of like a sieve, a column.
We don't say flow path on this show.
Yeah, if anybody that's watching knows me, that's my soapbox. No, that's not soapbox.
I'm talking about you.
But anyway,
we did say that when
I'm just saying, like I could understand. To me, like again, we're Monday morning quarterbacking, right? I wasn't there, you were there. I'm saying if there's a line in the building, the chances of having those types of conditions is probably pretty slim. So something is not going right? If it's only 1,200 square feet, it's not like it's So for you to have those conditions, they're either in the back room and things are wrapping around somehow or pushing. Oh, they don't push fire anymore. I don't think they push fire.
But at the same time, it wasn't. I've been in a room where fire was pushed around a corner and it's come at you. This was totally different. This was head high visibility on me to
hit
the floor. So at any rate, I remember leaning down, cover the victim up best I could. And I remember just laying there thinking, I was like, this is bad, but we're good. I'm not like, I do remember thinking my gear is going to start coming apart pretty quick. Yeah. But at the same time, I knew I was in a pinch, but I wasn't dying.
Well, what's good is you were in those situations from teaching, right? I mean, you were consistent. I don't know. I'm sure you were in other situations, but you kind of know when your air and your face piece is getting hot. At some point, right? Exactly. At some point, you're not. You have to make a move soon,
right? And that was kind of the. I don't remember and I think we talked about this the other day. I've had that oh shit moment where I've damn near panicked a couple times, and you kind of all your senses kind of go out the window. This wasn't one of those instances. At any rate, I just remember thinking we needed to go. So
how far are you away from the door? You said you went in about 12.
This is I'm probably 6 to 8 feet from the door.
Okay.
Could be 600 feet.
That would have been a lot worse. But anyway, sat up, started dragging her, and the fire conditions were at that point what was in the video.
Petey, show that video now, man. It's
Roger that.
When we did the first our 2 cents, and again, we didn't know anything, after talking to you this week. When we saw that video, that's him all the way on the right. He just came out of that room.
Right.
So that's him kneeling down on the banister there, and somebody's coming up to give him a hand. He's got the woman on the floor there. But you could see, obviously, that the fire was rolling over. I mean, it's it. It's gone. That whole room is gone, obviously.
Where is the engine company now, Danny?
They're about 15 feet inside the building.
You're going to see the line come out the window, out the door. You're going to see the spray come out right now.
Yeah, they thump it pretty good here in a second.
Right here, it's coming out.
Oh, there it goes. Yep.
And that was one thing too. That was not an exterior line. That was those guys turned around and were fighting their way to get out of the building. That's how hairy this got pretty quick.
Yeah, that's definitely through the roof there, obviously.
Yeah, now at this point, yeah, and you see all the soffit and stuff. There was all vinyl soffit on the front porch, which was
adding to all this shit.
Well, that and I remember getting her to the threshold and everything on the porch was on fire because all the soffit was melted and landed on the porch. And those are the 2 drivers from my truck coming up to assist. So
now let's get to the 2 and 2 out, right? So those guys were with you. Were they on the porch? If you're 8 feet in the building, 10 feet in, and they're standing in the doorway, they have to be 13 inches from you, or what does it mean 2 and 2 out at that point?
They
exactly
right. And you hit the nail on the head on the first our 2 cents thing. You sometimes
you got to make a move, man.
And it wasn't a thing where I went down a checklist and go, okay, well, we've got this. I saw great conditions for a viable
making a move, right?
And went and got them. Unfortunately, the victim expired in the front yard, and that's the downside of this. So technically, in my book and what I've grown up with, this is not a grab. This, it was a grab, but they didn't walk out of the hospital. You don't go to the med. You don't get a medal unless they walk out of the hospital, really. But
you don't go in there with that in mind.
No, of course not. Of course not. And that's the thing with this whole thing. It's just kind of, you don't go into it. You don't go in there to expect to get a medal when you come out. It just, you go do what your fucking job is. Excuse me, but I don't know why I say excuse me, like you guys give a shit, right? But or anybody else listening.
Hold on.
Will you watch yourself there?
Mamma mia. You see this? It's on a sticky.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, Pete. Drink. Go back to
Are you my pal, Danny?
Are you my pal,
Danny? So where did the nickname Danny Freelancer come from then? I don't know.
Oh my God.
He's that guy that leaves his guys.
Well,
right?
listen. Again, on the first one, we talked about this, and I wanted to ask you this, and we're going to talk about the 2 and 2 out more. What we were just talking about. So 2 and 2 out. When we first got on the job, Kevin and I, it wasn't in existence, right? So you had balls, and you proved to the other guys that you can make a move and you could search, and they want to know that you could do the job, right? It is risk reward, obviously, right? You're not running into a fully involved room on fire, but it's risk reward. So in this and then they came in with 2 and 2 out in the FDNY, and nobody really paid any attention to it initially. Mm-hmm. But then as time had gotten by, more and more and more, I guess the newer guys that were coming out of school, this is what they were taught.
Right.
So in our books, and Kevin had mentioned this, that his brother had called in and let him know, if there's life in a known life hazard, the 2 in, 2 out goes out the fucking window. It goes in the toilet. So what part of there's a known life hazard with the 2 in, 2 out? Is that the same scenario that's in Atlanta? That's what we couldn't understand the first time when we talked about this.
And that was, again, a lot of conversation about this. And we have the ability to forego RIT, Rapid Intervention Team, with a confirmed entrapment. But the captain that night saw fit to establish a RIT company. So you do what you're fucking told. And
so that's when that's the only time that would take into effect. So if the guy at the first go gets there, if he establishes a fast team or whatever you guys call it, then you can't do that on your own anymore. The 2 in, 2 out sticks.
Yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to direct orders and whatnot. But again, we have the ability to forego RIT with a confirmed entrapment and a few other things. And most chiefs will side with you if you have a good reason that you decided to put a second line into operation and put that second due. Again, I think I said earlier, our first due engines fire back, second due engines RIT, third due engines backup. If you see fit to put a second line in operation with your second company, that's fine. You just need to be able to justify that. And
I was going to say that again.
A life is not justifiable. Is that what you're saying? I'm not following.
No. I'm just talking about in your everyday job. So with this one, he saw fit to establish a RIT engine. So I can't. He did what he did. He did what he had to do. It wasn't a.
Right. He's making a call. He's making a call. You cannot.
All times that we've done this and not needed them, we could have used an engine.
I was just going to say. So what is a RIT? What do you guys call a RIT? What is that for? That's for firemen.
Right. Correct. Yeah. It's like your fast teams, basically.
Okay.
So initially, it's your first due engine, or excuse me, your second due engine, and then when the third due truck arrives, they marry up and become the RIT group. So you've got an engine and a truck standing by in case guys get jammed up.
All right. So now this is what I would say to that. I don't know much. And Kevin would agree to this, and I'm sure every fireman in this chat room would agree. Water makes problems go away, right?
I agree.
So if you have one line, having 6 guys, and this is what I said at the first time we watched that video, you got 6 guys standing outside, like with their, I don't even want to say, just standing around, as opposed to having a line. Had they had a second line in place, as opposed to worrying about the RIT, in my book, half of that fire wouldn't have been a problem, maybe.
Right. And again, I have every confidence in the world in that first due captain to make the decision that he made. I stick by what he made. Could things have been done different? Sure. But
because we know the outcome. Right. We know the outcome. And I'm not.
Exactly.
But you guys, in my book, even with us, we make sure 2 engines put the first line in operation. I mean, I don't always agree with that either. But for the most part, in the FDNY, 2 engines put one line, and the third and fourth due engines put another line. So it's always, now we kill it with manpower. But
and that's been a topic of conversation for since 2005, 2006, when we really laid this groundwork for this policy, is whether we go with the second engine or the third engine being your first due RIT piece. So in my opinion, and this is Danny Dwyer only, I would prefer to have that second due engine bringing a stretch.
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And if you look back at, we talked about Billy G's website earlier and the line of duties and the near misses. The bulk of the time, there's one line.
Water. Yeah, it's water. It's always water.
2 lines in, And
What are you going to do when you're? What happens? Show them the picture of that line, Pete.
Yep.
Yeah. So these guys are in there 15 feet operating, right, without a backup line. And then Danny showed me this picture of this is the line. Look at that jacket.
Jesus.
Like so those guys, if they lose water,
That's it.
Then what?
Correct.
You got six guys standing in the street that are a RIT team. You know what they're good for?
Ugats.
They don't do anything.
Danny, did anybody get burnt at that fire? Any in the engine? Or?
I don't believe so. If they were some superficial little, just getting your ears blistered. Nothing major.
Very lucky. Very lucky, man.
And these guys, again, I can't say enough about the two of them. They beat the clock on that one. That was just pure luck and well, I shouldn't say pure luck. That was some skill involved by the two guys. And luck on the hose. That was some combat hose we've been slowly replacing a lot of our pre-connects with, our 1.75" our tack lines. And had that been, 10, 15-year-old regular hose, there's no telling what we wouldn't be talking about this right now. I can say that.
Right.
They got very lucky. They stuck to the basics. The guy that was on the nozzle did a hell of a job.
Yeah, that's real deal, man.
That's real deal. Because if he had not kept that line flowing.
Did they end up backing out that front door then?
Yeah, they made it out the front door. Yeah.
Well, listen, what's the natural tendency? Drop the line and run out, like you know what I mean? And they didn't do that, right?
And that's the thing.
That's a testament to them.
You do this job long enough, you're going to get your ears blistered, get your around your face piece, whatever. But I've never been on fire before. Okay. And the one guy that I know that has, all your instincts or all your training kind of goes out the window, and you just go back to your pure animal instincts. And if your shit's on fire, you're coming out of it.
Fight or flight, bro.
Right.
Yep.
There's the training's out the window. Your shit's on fire, and that's it. And I would venture to say that, and I haven't asked either one of them, but I'd venture to say they were pretty close to that.
Yeah.
They were very lucky, and they oh shit, they stuck it there.
Look out.
Listen,
He's put on a few pounds since he's in there.
That's it. He's out of the big city now. You know what I mean?
Ghost hole. Yeah.
All right. So you know what? Let's.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go.
Yes,
all right. So from the complete, obviously civilian, I don't know what about fire. You're ordered to go make a grab, or you're ordered to conduct a search. Rather, you get inside, you come upon a body, you pull the body, you make the grab, and then you get slammed for that. Is that just generally how we're encapsulating this whole thing?
I would say generally not. No.
Okay. So how did I just fuck that all up?
Well, I mean, no, I would say generally speaking, no, you don't get slammed for that.
Why? I mean, basically, why are you getting slammed for that? You're ordered to get.
Okay, I see what you're getting at now. Okay,
He's
so
saying
what
in your case is what he's saying. I think.
Right. So what the general consensus was by several of the people that sustain and file these charges were that I broke crew integrity because I was not with my two drivers.
I did read his statement, and that's what he said. You broke crew
He was
integrity.
He was freelancing,
and you put firefighters at risk. Is what this?
Right, that's what he said. Right.
Lou
Could have. He said could have put firefighters at risk.
Yeah.
Would one of you care to define freelancing, just in case I've been taught wrong for 22 years?
Freelancing. Listen, if you look up freelancing in the dictionary, it says Lou Rafrano.
No.
I might be a subsection under you now.
Yeah, that's what's very confusing to me, because I've always said, even on this show, as a citizen, someone who's going to be hiding somewhere, waiting for someone to get me out of this mess that I'm in a fire, I don't give a shit. If you're coming in to pull me out, thank you, God bless you.
Right.
You know?
And that's the thing that has frustrated me for the better part of a decade, I guess. We got, and I'm sure Lou and Kevin, I don't know when you guys retired. I don't know how long you've been off the job or whatever, but for the better part of 10 years, we have gotten into this culture of us before them. And I have a huge problem with that.
No doubt about that, bro.
Right.
No doubt about that.
That is a great point, bro. Great point.
And that was not how I was raised on this job. You put yourself in between the people that pay to protect you and the bad shit. Okay. And that's it.
That's called risk. You're going to put yourself in a bad situation.
You take an oath to do that?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. And that was my thing that, so I don't know when this went sideways. I can't really put a finger on it.
The whole country's doing that, for God's sakes, and everything.
This is not where I am retiring from, but it's everywhere. It's a systemic problem with this job across the country, and I'm sure outside of here. But we all started, and it's, life safety. That's it. That's all there is to it, and
Danny, and they're going to a quarter of the fires that guys went to before our time, before me and Kevin in the 60s and 70s and 80s, a quarter of the fires they're going to now. And guys are still, now all of a sudden you have to, the risk has to be like totally, figured out before you do anything.
Maybe they have too much time on their hands. They're not going to enough fires.
And I'm not knocking, I'm not knocking these guys that go get their, go get education. I mean, it's a good thing, but I think that the science of this has gotten everything's become so convoluted now because
tactics. Yeah. It's over the top tactics.
Right. So in my opinion, again, this is purely my opinion, we do come before them 100% of the time, all the time. Now, I'm not going to put, as a company officer, I'm not going to put my guys into a spot that I don't think that they can come out of.
Of course.
Right. And we've always done that. But you don't ever put yourself in front of the citizens. Nobody wants to come home to my wife and daughter more than I do. Okay. And I don't want to die in a one-story frame in Southwest Atlanta. That's not on my list of things to do. But if you crawl into a building and shit goes sideways and you're on your way out with a victim and things happen, then things happen. That's part of it. That's what we signed up to do. Nobody signed up.
You knew that going in, right? You knew it going in.
I'm not trying to be a badass or a
right. No doubt. No doubt.
It's what you're supposed to do as a fireman. And that's basically the gist of it.
Danny, I wanted to ask you this too. We had talked about this on the first show when we discussed you. Did you have any history with the chief at all? Like, guys, we were figuring that maybe there was more to this than just this. Maybe it was something that had happened. Not at all.
Not at all. The battalion chief that filed the charges, he and I were good friends.
That's Slaughter?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So battalion chief filed the charges.
Yeah, the guy was the incident commander filed the charges, and he and I had run together for 5 years at the time.
Did you have history with him?
No, not at all.
Which makes it better. So you guys are semi-friendly, and he has it in his brain. He just made a grab, and he's going to write you up on charges.
After the kudos was given that night.
I was just going to say, what happened at the hot wash?
So, when did you actually find out that somebody was filing charges? And were you like, what the fuck? What?
So, if
wait, what? What happened?
Wait, what?
That's my surprise. So, if I recall, the fire was early Friday morning, so we had worked the Thursday tour back Sunday, and we had another critique on Sunday after the hot wash that night, and the freelancing thing was brought up. And I didn't appreciate how
who brought it up?
Cover up.
Cover up.
That guy who you ran with for 5 years. What the fuck is that? The fuck is that?
That's a great thought. Yeah, that was kind of my thought when I got a call from the.
I'm sure.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't know what the hell going on.
By any chance, do you want to bring that genius's name up?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, come on, I'll dig him up.
I still can't get past that you were ordered to go in. That's what I can't get past. So what were you supposed to do? Leave the body there and just walk on by? And
I'm gonna leave it with this one. I'm not gonna leave it, but I want to interject this one thing. And what I've tried to explain to a lot of people that were ranking above me, it's just like, if this was your grandmother in the house,
simple.
All it boils down to, do you want me
Simple.
to wait 60 seconds, 45 to 60 seconds, or do you want me to go fucking get her?
Same thing. I said, forget about your
Danny,
grandmother.
Danny,
It's
you
your
have a
brother.
line. There's a line in place
Right.
already. It's not like you're going in by yourself. You have a
Right.
line. There's a people ahead of you, right? That's what I can't, in my brain, I can't figure out what's
I still
going
can't
on.
figure it out. It's been almost a year. So how do you?
The line is ahead of you. So you're following the line in. It's not like you went in by yourself for 45 seconds.
Correct.
Come
And
on. Come on.
Come on. So he brings it up at the when you guys are going over when do you actually find out that they're filing charges against you to take to suspend you for 2 days? Because that's got to be a great story. You got to be like,
yeah.
all right.
So let's lay a timeline out for you here. Fire's on a early Friday morning. We work Thursday. We go in Sunday.
I love it.
Critique doesn't go as planned. Wednesday, I come back to work and get an email from our internal affairs saying I've got charges on me.
Holy moly.
Jesus.
Really?
If there was an issue, you would think that issue would have been, if he had that big of a problem with it, to file charges that night, but that didn't happen.
What kind of fireman was he? Where did he work? Was he looking to better his career? What was he looking to do? Because those guys are usually the guys who are the boosters when they're like a
fireman, and then they become a chief, and then they're all
like,
on the
you can't fucking drink on the job.
Towing the line.
Yeah. Was it? What kind of fireman was this?
I could tell by the smirk. He don't want to say, but he could tell by the smirk.
Yeah.
You got it.
Danny, just go like this.
No,
it does again.
Enough said.
So
how many days was it, Danny?
I took a 48-hour rip. Yeah, 48-hour rip.
So
that's great.
We saw that there was like a GoFundMe thing. Did you get you got a couple of shekels?
Yeah. That Jesus Christ, that was I can't even begin to explain the outpouring of support from everybody after this. The GoFundMe,
hell yeah, brother.
The GoFundMe was amazing. By the way, if you ever go to GoFundMe, I hope you're not sponsored by them, but getting them to release money is a fucking nightmare.
Oh, really? Is it?
I'm still trying to get all of it.
Come on, really?
Yeah,
it's probably harder than passing a stone in Pete's kidneys, bro.
No, that's easy. After Louis yells at you, the stone pops right out.
Right. But I really appreciate. We got a drink again?
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're doing it.
Evan King in the house again. I see.
But they, the money that was raised was phenomenal. I can't thank everybody enough. My wife and I, my daughter. What do you say to that? I mean, the amount of money that was raised was far surpasses
2 days,
48 hours.
Yeah, but it's all right, man. That's just showing you what people feel.
Well, we're going to. I discussed it with my wife at length and another close friend, and I'm going to. The victim that passed away was to say that she was a pillar in her community was I think would be an understatement. And spent a lot of time with the church that was catty corner to her house. So we're going to give the money that was donated to her church once we get it all out of GoFundMe.
Wow, dude, that's a great fucking story,
right,
bro.
man.
Well, it's not about. I think you guys probably the first ones to know this. It's not about you just do what's right. And I'm not trying to be a martyr with this whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's 48 hours worth of pay. We all don't make shit. The amount of money that was raised was.
I know. I saw a number like early on. It was great.
It was yeah. And again,
But no, that's a stand. That's a great move, bro. Because in the end, you're here. You're still with your family. The woman. She passed away, and all this other bullshit that went on is just that. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And
I like your style.
Yeah, thanks.
He's all right, that Danny.
So now you're out of that shit shop, and now you're in. Where are you?
Wait, let me ask you one question. How does this guy Slaughter get into the whole thing? He was
Look at Danny was like, oh man,
because he seems like he's a military guy. He was deployed. He seems like an okay guy, and Let me rephrase it. Does any of these motherfuckers go to bat for you, or nobody goes to bat for you? None of these Chiefs.
A few did. A few did. I will not say by any stretch of the imagination that there weren't a lot of conversations that I was not privy to live, but I know that occurred. And Chief Slaughter is the fire chief of the department. He's the final guy.
He looks tough.
Oh, he does look like a badass.
Definitely not
hard.
I think he's the wrong color.
Oh, come on.
What? He's a black guy. You can't
Come
say
on.
black.
No, yeah.
Well, if you like Mike Milner, you do this when you're talking about.
The black. I saw the picture on the guys. I saw his picture on the news when I looked it up before.
Right.
But I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was shocked when the suspension was upheld because I had spoken to the fire chief a couple different occasions about this incident.
Which one? The guy that wrote you up?
No, the boss, the big chief,
Sergeant Slaughter.
Fire, yeah, Chief Slaughter, and again,
dude, I would not screw with that guy. Now that guy looks like he's got the good neck. He's got a good neck, man. He'll rip you apart.
You know what? Maybe I got to focus my hate on the other guy because I had it over this guy. Maybe it's the guy who wrote you up, that chief. We won't say his name. What rhymes with what? What does it rhyme with, Danny?
Munchin. I'm gonna pay for that. Anyway, but and Billy, I see that. How shitty is the Atlanta Fire Union? They're fucking rock solid, buddy. As rock solid as you can be in a non-collective bargaining state. They're rock solid,
dude. That guy, the union boss. I saw his interview. He had your back.
Yeah, Paulie's watching right now. So give him a little shout. But
Paulie Bag of Donuts is watching tonight. Good for you, Paulie.
I saw it. He
what's the Italian guy, Paulie Gillespie?
No,
that guy.
He's a soul thieving redheaded Irishman.
What?
Yeah, you know how
I saw it.
They're soul thieves. Yeah, he's a soul thievery. But no, our union is we're in the South. It's a different story. So we don't have collective bargaining. We're basically, they do this and just fucking, keep plugging and banging away and being a thorn in their side if need be.
You know what was weird was that I looked at a couple of websites before we came on tonight just to see what was being said in the old comments, right? Mm-hmm. And it really is split kind of almost down the middle, right? So you got the old school guys, kind of like us, who say, screw that shit. You fucking go. You do whatever you have to do. Make the grab. Try and save a life. Whatever it is, you put your life in the line. And then you got these other guys who are, I don't even want to read it because I'll throw up. But you listen to these guys about, and they believe it, that you should wait until almost like there's no risk until like the fire's out before you search anything.
It's called being a coward, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Those are the guys who take third place trophies. Everybody's got to have a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy.
But if you look at some, and I think that's where guys are kind of coming to this podcast a little bit, looking for a little bit of the old school style, in your face, enough of this crap, because you sign up for this. Right. In the end, and that was it's exactly what you did. Exactly.
And let's say you waited, Danny. Let's say you waited, right? And the lady roasted. You got to sit there and live with that for the rest of your life because
you waited for somebody to put his pants on or put his mask on or he's fumbling with his face paint or whatever.
Night pajamas off or whatever he was taking off. I don't know.
SpongeBob pants. And that was my comment at the critique the following shift. I was like, at the end of the day, I got to get up and look at myself in the mirror every morning.
Yeah.
Dude, you could sleep every night, bro. Every night.
Clean. And what's right is right. And what's wrong is wrong. And I will go to my grave disagreeing with the decision that was made. But
it's a tough thing anyway, man. And
the thing is, the guy that filed the charges, again, we were buddies up until this incident. I try to remain as cordial as I could be with him following the incident. Mm-hmm. Again, he's a boss. He's my boss. I run with this guy. I've been running with this guy since I made lieutenant. He made battalion shortly thereafter. So we've been running together for a long time. He has his opinion. I have mine. I just know mine's right.
Oh, there you go.
You know, right? But you know, at the end of the day, I don't know. We haven't discussed it, but I don't know what his thought process is. I really can't say.
I'll tell you, it's cover my ass, so burn my friend.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
I would say that's a fairly accurate statement. And you know, unfortunately, you know, there were a lot of things that went really well that night. There were a lot of things that went sideways. And again, I was accused of freelancing at a critique in front of about 40 people.
Yeah, right.
And I just, you know, at some point,
nothing like corrected in a whole room of people.
Well,
right?
that's the thing too, right?
Where the fuck is that? What?
Yeah,
book is that?
that's not in any book.
That's
phrase in public, and you fucking.
That's it, brother.
That's the blowjob handbound bro.
It's in the blowjob handbook. Criticize in private. You don't fucking do that.
And this, and that, you know, I sat there and kind of bit my tongue, and you know, I just tried to. I'm not. I think anybody that knows me knows I'm not. I shoot off the mouth probably a little bit too much when I shouldn't. But I think I handled it.
We don't know nothing about that over here.
No, I'm not like that at all, man.
Buy the book.
Right. We're all cut from the same cloth.
What is that?
They're all type A, you know. But
all
you know, I did what I thought was right in the respect of his rank, and I do respect the battalion chiefs. And I didn't want to make him look like an asshole in front of everybody that was there, even though that's the way that it was put to me.
Yeah, right.
But I told him, I said, Chief, I respectfully disagree with you. You know, freelancing in my book is you send me to the roof and I go in for a search.
In the basement.
In the basement, yeah. Or in the house next door.
I'm not saying I could have done that. I'm just saying it could have been done. I don't know.
Someone did it.
It is not. If you want to accuse me of breaking crew integrity, fine. Yes, I broke crew integrity to go in and make it.
I disagree with that. Even that statement. You had an engine in front of you.
I did.
You got guys in front of you.
I have no problem taking it on the chin if they said, well, you left your two guys outside. Yeah, I did. I left a 28-year tillerman and like a 13-year front end man outside. Two very experienced guys. Now, it is in policy that you are allowed with a 4-man engine crew. If you're the first arriving engine on a house fire, you are allowed to stop at the hydrant, drop a plugman off, and forward lay into a burning structure. Okay? You stop the rig, driver gives a signal, kid charges a plug, and the officer or the seat rider and the hosman are inside the building. And you tell that plugman when he's done making the connections, come find me. Come find me. Crawl 50 feet inside of a building.
In the pitch black.
Yeah, great.
And come find me. Right. Okay. What the fuck is it?
It's never going to happen, man.
Right.
It's never gonna happen.
Right. And that was I explained that at my inquiry, my meeting with the bosses, and I'm like, what's the difference? We do this every day. This is common practice, and it's okay. I have no problem with it. But when you take a guy that's plugged, so in our department, you're on probation. You don't fill in. Okay. So when you come off probation, you're the first man out the door until you're checked off the drive. So generally speaking, when you get a new guy, you got a kid that's fresh off probation, maybe is filling in from across town, has never been in a building burning in his life. Tito's is catching up to me.
Nice.
And,
good job.
That happens. But
give the name. Give the name. Say it.
This name?
Are you my
the other name?
Oh, Danny.
Oh, dude.
You want a fresca, Danny?
You know, not to interrupt, but there's a lot of questions coming in shit hot right now. And John 2 is asking.
Johnny 2, my boy, Rescue 4, bro.
Our 4, bro. Pete, he's saying, Pete asked Danny, are you guys blue card? I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, so blue card is a.
What the hell is that?
I got blue balls. I don't know what the same thing.
There's an easy fix for this, Kevin.
I ain't no stranger to that. Ask
We
Luke,
love you
bro.
long time. Love you long
Come
time.
on.
Anyway, Blue Card. So
go.
Blue Card was developed by Alan Brunacini out of Phoenix several years ago, and it's a. I've never been to Blue Card, so I'm kind of speaking out of turn here, but my understanding is it's a generalized way to teach battalion chiefs and captains how to run an incident. It's a pretty regimented thing. They use different terminology than we use. Now, that being said, most of our I believe all of our battalion chiefs and probably 95% of our captains have been through that training. We don't utilize Blue Card like other departments do. It was kind of a generalized way to say, hey, all of our guys have been certified at this level. But again, speaking out of turn, I never rode the car as a battalion. But
I've never even heard of that.
well, it's I don't know. They use a lot.
Oh, is it like a rubber stamp for everybody? Just this is how you do it, and that's it.
And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I can't comment on it. I've never done a lot with it, but it's a generalized way to say, hey, all these people have been through this command school, basically, right? So it could be FDNY's command school, Atlanta's command school. It's Blue Card training. It is what it is. It's a generalized way to train people to run an incident. We have got all of our guys trained to that level. They don't really. I don't think we use a lot of the same stuff, but they've been to the training.
No, that's
so.
So let me ask you a question, then. If to do it all again, would you go the same way?
That's been a question that's
nice. Good question. Cool.
And it is. And the thing is, I would like to think so. But that's one thing that's racked my brain since June 28th last year is would I do it again? And it's not for it has nothing to do with the punishment. It has to do with the conditions and what happens. But I hope so. I really do. But conditions were just right when I made the door to make a split second move. And I hope I would. I would like to think so. But I don't know.
You know what? I only know you as long as I only know you we're an hour on the air, maybe an hour before that. I'm thinking if there were deteriorated conditions, you would make the same move, bro, because it seems like that's the kind of guy you are. Talking the way you talk, old school, life is first. It seems to me that you would make that move.
What's the turnout gear now? Like $4,000? You got gear, you have a BA, you have a leather helmet, hopefully, and this person has a nightgown.
Nothing. Yep.
I'll never get past that. To me, and when people do this whole bullshit of flowing water in a window to reset the fire or any of this stuff that's been pushed around, I'm not with that. If you have any ability to be inside of that building to search and to put the fire out from the inside out, that's where you need to be. They gave us all this shit to wear to protect us, and it does a phenomenal job. But you have a grandfather or a mother in there in a nightgown or a t-shirt. What? I mean, where does this make sense to anybody?
No.
To me,
and
every time I think about every time I think about the scenario, the line is in operation.
Thank you.
It's not even a conversation anymore. We have to. I mean, it's in the whole scheme of things. The line is already ahead of you. If you went in by yourself before the line was getting set up or disconnected or setting up or attached to the pump, I say, okay, you could sell me something. The fucking line is in operation. It's ahead of you.
Water's flowing.
Come on. What are you talking about here? What are we even talking about?
And again, I've been to a couple of fires, and we had a very rapid change in conditions that I have never in my career seen. It goes south that fast. Like I'm not. When I tell you it changed in a fucking instant,
listen. It happens all the time, right? It's happened to everybody who's done this job, right? It goes from night to day, light to day, day to night. It's just that fast. But
that to me,
with a line, that's a scary thing. If you were in there without a line, right? Then
you're up shit's creek,
right? But with a line in there, you got to be like, holy shit, man, things are not good.
And listen, understand this too, and this kind of just dawned on me as well. Like, I went to the B side, straight line. There was no down a hallway, into apartments, into the back bedroom. It was a straight line, 12 to 15 feet to the left. They're straight in front of me with a line in operation. Had that line not been in operation, or had they failed or not opened the nozzle or whatever, burned through, you're cut off. So they protected the rescue. They did exactly what their job is as an engine company.
That video where those guys, when you see the line coming out the door from the inside when everything is on fire, that's like fucking the hate. That's my shit right there, bro. Like that's the real deal. That's the real job. Real guys in the shit, not talking about it, not throwing a line here or there, whatever, in the window, whatever. You can sell me on that shit too. We've talked about that too. But those guys are the real deal.
Right. You know what else makes a big difference, bro? If she's in a nightgown and she's really hot, then you definitely, bro, you're definitely making that extra push. You know what I mean?
He said push.
You know what? Let me just pull something up for you guys. I got to open here.
Then you'd find Danny. He's actually humping on the way out. What did he do? I don't know.
A real man.
She was hot.
He's married. He's a married man.
Here we have the city of Atlanta's fire rescue.
Don't do that. Don't do that to the guy. You're gonna hurt the guy. He's in a good mood.
Not gonna hurt me. No, I'm in a great mood.
I almost threw up on it, bro.
The Atlanta Fire Rescue Department is a multifaceted, all hazards emergency response organization with a very diverse workforce. That's important. Hold on. They provide prompt quality services to their stakeholders that promote safety and well-being, enhance sustainability, and enrich the quality of life through professional development and dedication to service. That's the mission. Their core values are innovative, inclusive.
I remember
Bing, 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 bing.
I remember when Capt read that.
I read that last time,
Yeah.
Inclusive.
Right.
Committed, courageous, excellent, ethical, professional, and transparent. Okay.
Hey, Danny. You know what I want to ask you? Just let's
do that, Pete. Send me that, and I'll print it up, and I'll wipe my ass with it. All right, that's what I'll do with that.
Let's move past this. Let's talk about where you're at now and how things are going with where you're at now. So you retired from the Atlanta?
Yeah. So obviously, as you can imagine, things kind of went sideways after this. And as much as I love that department, even after all the nonsense, I still love the guys there. I love being a city fireman. There's nothing that in this part of the country, in my opinion, you don't get any better. I'll put us up against just about anybody on a 1 or 2 story frame, 2-story apartment. We got them. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud to say I worked for Atlanta. Regardless of all the things that happen. I'm more proud to say I'm retired from Atlanta now. Everything happens for a reason, right? And when this all went down, I'm sure everybody understands that, this blew up bigger. This blew up in my and Paulie's faces a little bit in a good way. We expected when this was released to the local media, it was to kind of, just put the word out there locally. And then Mark Zuckerberg and his fancy invention of Facebook and Instagram and everything else that it hit, it went viral. I didn't even know what going viral was until February 13th.
I saw your face, bro. I'm on Instagram pretty much, taking care of. Yeah, it was everywhere, bro. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I got to get this guy on my show. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell is this dude?
Some schmuck from fucking But, I'm a firm believer and everything happens for a reason. And I'm glad I was there that night. I'm glad the charges were filed. I'm glad things went down the way that they did because it brought I think it brought a resurgence to what we're all originally here for.
I agree.
I think, Lou, you and I talked about it the other day, a guy that I became friends with because of this incident. I've never met the guy, but Dave Mellon, if you're listening, he told me a quote that he heard from another guy one day. He goes, "I'm a nobody fireman from nowhere. I'm just a fireman. That's it." Again, right place at the right time, wrong place at the wrong time. But the one thing I can say is, there seems to be a resurgence of firemen doing fireman shit with their buddies, and I like that. And you're starting to see all these grassroots fire department conferences popping up all over the country.
Yeah, no doubt.
Portland,
Man.
Oregon, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Kurt Isaacson down in Florida's got a hell of a program down there. They're running like 5 classes a year, and it's just going back to what we were all taught and what we all believe in to our core. And I firmly believe in that. So, yeah.
And if this shit wasn't going down the way it is now, it would be because we would be talking. Harrisburg is supposed to be this week, right? Or next week.
Yeah,
right. We would have been in FDIC. This thing would have been all over the place. You know what I mean? It would have been
a bat somewhere, and now we have a problem. So, is that a bad?
No.
No, you can't say it.
But all jokes aside, yeah. So to get back to your original question, yes, I'm retiring from Atlanta officially on May the 28th. I'm off the books. And I have accepted a position with the department north of Atlanta. Yeah, man, it's been a good run. And again, I hated to. I feel like I left a lot of stuff undone in a way, but at the end of the day,
yeah, it'll clear your head a little while. You got a little time, Matt.
Right, and everybody keeps telling me, and there are guys that work for this department now. That I'm with that came from Atlanta, a lot of retired Atlanta guys there, and they're all like, man, it's going to take you a few months to get
acclimated. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no. I'm good.
I'm good.
You go from running fucking 15 to 25 calls a shift, 24 hours to running 2 or 3. I'm okay with that. It's all right.
You all right. Listen, you get to keep your rank?
I did not. No, I'm scrubbing toilets, bro.
Whoa!
That's all right.
Hello, Proby.
How's the money? It's the same money, less money, same money, different money.
It's green and it spends the same.
All right.
There you go, kid.
But at the end of the day, bro, it's not. Again, it's not about being a fucking captain or being a lieutenant or a driver or a fireman. It's just we're all here for the same reasons.
It wasn't going to work there, right? I mean, it wasn't going to work there.
No, I tried for 15 plus years to get that place to be what it's.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
All the capability to have everything they need, more or less, to be a very successful place, and it's just like for whatever reason things get blocked. And hey, it is what it is. I love the guys that are the guys that are there. Stick it out, do what you can. I just got to a point in my life and my career where I'm tired of being tired, and
nice.
This is
that's a good line, man.
I'm 41 years old. I've been in this business for 22 years. I've got a 2.5-year-old little girl, and a wife that I love dearly. And at the end of the day, coming home to them fresh and ready to roll is more important to me than fucking being up on 7 or 8 ass aches in the middle of the night.
Well, I was just
on a fire that doesn't come.
That's exactly. And you want to know what? That comes with time, right? As you do more time on the job, when your first 5 years compared to your first 10 years, compared 15 and then 20 and then 25, if you're going to compare yourself at the 25-year mark to the 5-year guy,
you're wrong.
Right. It's exactly right. So,
I'm missing a few discs.
Yeah, you're doing the right.
You go down the road and running up and down the road, burning fuel, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
Yeah, listen, you don't have to explain. I know exactly what you're going to say. I know what you're thinking. Exactly.
You don't need to explain, Lucy.
You don't have to explain to me, Lucy.
If you could show this video of me now to me at 19 years old, I'd be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He's a pussy. But you mature.
That's
it.
Exactly.
And I was very and still am very, very thankful to have the opportunity that I had to exit on my own terms, go where I wanted to go.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And come home refreshed in the morning. And still, I think that because of leadership there, I'm going to be able to do some. I hope to be able to do some good things. And yeah, man, it's a great place. It's a very strange place. There's a bunch of really good firemen in a place that doesn't go to a whole lot of fire, but they're all like, but when it hits, it's fucking.
They're ready to go, right?
Yeah, they're ready to roll.
What are you in? You're in an engine or a lot? They have a lot of company. What do you got?
Yeah. There are 3 stations, 3 engines, 2 trucks, and again, we float. I'm floating. I'm in the rear with the gear, which is the best.
Oh, hello,
logistics,
Joker.
baby, logistics.
Right. Yeah.
I have one question written down here, Danny. I know we're going to start. Pete's going to start giving us the winky and all that stuff.
There's a couple things.
How do you know Eddie Cancro? Eddie Cancro was a good friend of mine and Kevin's. I know him a long time, and I know when he retired from the FDNY, it was like a shock almost. Like he was like, "Hey, how you doing? How's everything going? All right, see you. I'm going to Georgia." You know what I mean? It was like a gun. You know.
I don't know the whole story with how. I know he told me because of some issues he had. He pretty much was there one day and gone the next. Like no prep time, no time to get your head right. But I met Eddie. I think if I remember right, he had family living here, maybe in-laws or something. And I met Eddie through a good friend of mine, Chip Newell, who is squad captain in Atlanta. How the hell they hooked up, I don't know. Chip knows pretty much everybody coast to coast. So he met Eddie. Eddie came down here. They lived here for a few years. And his son, I think, was trying to get on the job, if memory serves. And then I didn't hear about Eddie for a while, and come to find out he's slinging bagels in Arizona now, which is pretty cool.
Really? Is he really?
Yeah, he's. I believe he's in Arizona somewhere. And
come on, I didn't even know that. I saw that. How about a schmeckle? You need a schmeckle?
But
I hate to interrupt here, but coming in shit hot from the chat, boys, is Mrs. Dwyer, I think. All right. Says Brian Whittington says, imagine having this guy as your probie and Mrs. Dwyer coming in hot, saying, yeah, I do. Every day. He cleans my toilets and cooks my meals.
Nice.
I don't.
Is that her? Is that her?
It could be my wife in the other room, or it could be one of the guys I work with. I have no idea.
Dude, tell her to come down so we could have her come in there so we could say hello.
Hey, if that's you, come in here. I tried to get
So when Eddie when Eddie had commented on your, I forget one of my posts, either it was on Facebook or Instagram, you guys kind of went back and forth. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I forgot that Eddie was in Georgia and that you guys know each other. He was like, I really liked Eddie. He was a good guy, man.
I've only met him a handful of times, but really enjoyed talking shop with him and stuff like that. He's very, very sharp guy, and I wish he was still here. Was that really you?
Tell her to come say hi.
Hello, Eddie. She's out of there, man. She's like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
I didn't know. I was like, God, that could be her. That could be one of the guys.
Hey, Mom. The Milo.
Hey.
That's Jake.
All right. You got the whole Danny, you got the whole game, man.
Danny, it's nice to see that you married up. Good job, bro. Excellent.
He was waiting to hit you on that.
Rich Anderson in the chat saying, hold on, where is he? He said, let Pete yell at her.
Quite active. I've seen his face pop up a good bit.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my.
Hey,
Kev, is it that time for that old school thing?
Oh, you know what time it is? Danny, Double D. You know what time it is, Double D? It's
Not
the
again.
old school tip of the day.
I feel like coming in with like chains on my head and like the whole thing.
All I want to see is the Caddyshack.
We can do that one more time before we leave. We'll do that one more time.
Before we cash out?
Yeah.
You got to give us the tip of the day, kiddo.
Old school tip of the day.
I banged my head against the wall for a few hours today trying to figure this out because again, I don't consider myself old school. I guess, after a few years you get there, but trying to figure out stuff that what's old school now. I was just taught a certain way, and that's the way that I was taught, and that's just the school, right? But I tried to I talked to a buddy of mine and was trying to, we're trying to put our heads together. I was like, man, what do we do that's old school? And I guess it just depends on where you come from. But one thing that we talked about, as far as if you're assigned to a truck with us, ventilation is, as much as it's a huge tactical priority, it gets overlooked a lot. We are better now. The city of Atlanta is better now about going to topside vent. So one thing that I picked up a long time ago when I was still driving a truck is you come off the truck, grab your shit, and crank the saw. When you're coming down the block and you've got a steel chainsaw running or whatever, K12, and if the chief has not thought about that yet, he's going to think about it when you're coming down the block carrying a saw that's running. Another thing that eliminates too is trying to crank it in the front yard. If you've got smoke chugging, if it needs to be vented, you've got smoke chugging out of four sides, and starting the front yards hard sometimes. So crank it at the truck, carry it with you.
The choke smokes it out. I mean, the smoke chokes it out, right?
Choke smokes what?
The smoke chokes out the saw.
Yeah. But
choking.
Thing, a buddy of mine who's actually he and I came up here in Atlanta together, and he's on your job now as well. But forcing doors was not something that I did as a gentleman, as they say, for a long time. I usually put a size 13 to it and blew it off the hinges, and that was it. But one thing I learned over the years is, learn to force doors properly. That's a big thing with me. I love a set of irons. It's one of my favorite. It's my favorite tool to carry. And so learn how to do it well, do it properly, do it like a gentleman. And those are my two tips, I guess. Other than tips for shitbag rookies like myself now.
Oh,
I like.
You want to give us a tip on cleaning the toilet bowls? Because
oh, what did you tell me today, Danny? You told me something about that.
I can crank shitters with the best of them. But no, you put when you're cleaning the fucking latrines, comment in the bowl, bleach in the bowl, whatever. Run the brush around, leave it in there. That way, that when the guy comes in there to take a nice fresh morning glory, it's clean. And he
sees it. He smells it. I like it.
Nice. Listen, we got a lot of requests for how Chief Steve feels on this situation, but I actually spoke to Chief Steve at length, and he thought that my man Danny here was totally in the right, and that the chief was full of shit, and he thought the chief had a hidden agenda. So I don't know if Danny has ever met Chief Steve. But
hey, did you ever meet Chief Steve?
I've seen this. By
the way, we got new lyrics coming out for the Chief Steve song.
We need new lyrics.
Steve was on annual leave this evening, but if he's in the house,
I'd rather see Danny's meeting again. To be honest with you.
Oh, before we get there, he was talking about the partner saw, right?
Yeah.
We just so happened to have a cigar cutter.
He is such.
Look at that.
Oh, God.
Do you smoke cigars, Danny?
I've been known to partake a time or two.
Oh, we're going to have to send you one, bro, at www.gettingsaltyapparel.com.
There it is again. You know what that's called?
Shameless plug. Right there, kid.
Two of them.
Oh, the plug.
I'll send you two. Email Louie what you want, because I can engrave these. For any guys who want this engraved for parties and stuff, I can put your name right on there. I'm going to send them down to Danny right here, Double D.
I like it.
But let's see Danny's meeting.
Let's see Danny's meeting one last time, just so we know what happened.
By the way, I don't know. Did Judge Smales go to bat for you? In the,
we're fast pals. We're big pals.
There you go.
So for anybody in the chat right now who did not see this when we opened up the segment, this was Danny's and the Chief Sergeant Slaughter's meeting. We found this, it was kind of like down low. We had to, go through a lot of rat holes to get this thing, but we got it.
Here it is. Coming to you hot.
Sit down, Danny. Danny, I think you know why you're here, so I'll do us both the courtesy of not reviewing what happened yesterday.
I swear I didn't tell anybody anything, sir.
Good. Good. Despite what happened, I'm still convinced you have very fine qualities, and I think you can still become a gentleman someday. If you understand and abide by the rules of decent society. The most important decision you can make right now is what do you stand for, Danny? goodness or badness?
I know I've made some mistakes in the past. I'm willing to make up for that. I want to be good.
Good. Good. Very good. Are you my pal, Mr. Scholarship winner?
Yes, sir. I'm your pal.
How about a Fresca?
Oh.
Ah?
Dude, I'm gonna watch that thing like 50 times, man. I can't stop watching it. It's
I just
hilarious.
want to ask one more question, Danny. Have you since that meeting? Have you since become a gentleman?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Judge. Yes.
I'll tell you one thing, man. I met this. I mean, basically, when this whole thing happened, I just sent him a quick text. I think, right, Dan? Yeah. We kind of went back and forth on Instagram and or Facebook or one of those things. And by the time I started talking to him, you know, I could just tell that the guy's.
He grew on you like a fungus.
Yeah, I like him. And then when I see him now, I like him a little more. You know, he's. You know, I'm not. I don't play for that team. But I'm just saying. I like him a lot. He's a squared away guy.
When you're in the truck instead of the set of irons, do you bring the Billy Baru? Oh,
the old Billy Baru. All right, so I'm going to.
Hey, what do you got?
Real quick, I got my chops a second ago by a very good friend of mine. He goes, what's with all the truck shit? Get the fuck out of here on your tip of the day. So,
all right. You got it. Go ahead. You got it.
Go.
Hold on, Danny. Hold on, Pete.
It's very regal.
Rumsford, this is for you. When in doubt, lay it out.
As basic as it gets, bro.
Water. With us, get your own water.
There you go.
Basic as it gets, bro.
Bitches in the room, notice that my internet did not go down because I have an internet extender amplifier, bitches.
It's about to go down now in 3, 2, 1.
Ruffy, give us the contest.
All right, so we had a contest. On Instagram, basically, to get as many as you punks into this chat room, and we had 3 winners for our koozies. And one of them is Jeremy Gillum. If he's on tonight, he gets another shirt. We got Steve Morris, S Morris 343. And we got Norman Figueroa the third. Fig 31.
Sorry. Wrong button.
So if those guys are in the chat, they'll get a shirt. This Thursday, we got my man, Lieutenant Dennis Gordon, good friend of mine, good friend of Kev's. He started in Engine 45, was in Ladder 120, Watkins Street. The tradition continues a lot of years, man, 30-something, 30-plus years.
Like Staten Island or upstate?
That's right next to 103, where all, just see the smoke. There's a lot of smoke. And then he went to, I think he transferred to Squad 18 for a cup of coffee. And then he was in Rescue 4.
Yeah.
Long time with Rescue 4. We also have a very, very good video coming out tomorrow. FDNY old school video.
Pete worked his balls off on this, bro. Watch it.
Tell us about it.
It's a motivational video. If you like old school, if you like fire scenes, if you like Ray Downey, and dude, it's got it all. Watch it. So the whackers will be like this.
My wife cried.
Hey, Dave Winthrop, keep that down. That might be the word of the day. So just keep that down. I thought we discussed that already. All right, keep it down.
Listen, and one more thing, bro. I started the artwork for the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. First do-it-your-old ladies box shirt. Boom! Bro. First do-it-your-old ladies box. coming out soon.
Extra large.
Extra large. And he's gonna have
large.
like a shirt every time he goes to work. He's gonna be like, "Do you have any other wardrobe? Or what's going on?"
Getting salty shirts. We gotta
Just
send
gonna
him
be
to
sending him
Tillman.
shit.
He wants to Tillman. He wants the cigar cutter.
It's a perfect time for the segue, guys.
Do it.
If you guys need any t-shirts like the first Do at Your Old Lady's Box up and coming t-shirt, tune in to GettinSaltyApparel.com. Of course, get it over there. But guys who are listening right now on audio, you guys need to do us a favor and give us all the finger here at YouTube.
Goddamn.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta give us the finger here at youtube.com/experience. Guys, like, subscribe, share. I want to come out to Danny's new firehouse and see him scrub.
Oh, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Road trip.
Hey, the weather's beautiful down here right now, Lou.
Only if Mrs. Dwyer makes us dinner, bro. Only if Mrs. Dwyer makes us dinner.
Oh, wait, what? Wait, what?
She's got some stuffed shells. Some stuff.
Does she have some manigot?
What was her maiden name? Her maiden name have a vowel at the end of it?
What's that?
Her maiden name have a vowel at the end of it?
No.
What?
Why do you say no like that? What do you mean?
No, I didn't get vowel.
Is it? What is it?
And of course, guys, to get all your Getting Salty podcast information, go to Instagram, of course, where you'll find our contests. You'll find new video uploads like tomorrow, May 5th at noon, where you'll see this crazy new video. My wife cried. She got all choked up. It was beautiful. What is that? Velvet at Salty Dog Inc. on Instagram, of course.
What is that, Velvet?
I want to thank Danny for coming on. Great guy, bro. Listen, I don't even have to question you. You would have done it again. You would have done it 100 times over because that's who you are, bro. Get her done.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. I was to say I was intimidated was an understatement.
Oh, come on.
You guys, no. I mean, again, to quote my buddy, I'm nobody from nowhere, but you guys bring some fucking heavy hitters on this show, and the fact that I'm following behind Milner, I think, and then
Dennis Gordon.
Yeah.
Well, you know what was the best was when I talked to Gordon.
I end up here.
I talked to Gordon the other day.
Yeah.
He was like, "I don't want to go next. Like, how am I going to beat Milner? Like, I'm like, listen, it's not all about wearing a bra and a crazy hat. Yeah.
He had a chump from Atlanta in between. He's good.
Nobody likes to quit it, Danny. Nobody likes to quit it,
Danny. Danny, I have to say, bro, you're a squared away guy.
Appreciate it.
I enjoyed talking to you during the week, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Any chance your old lady coming in loofah in my back?
You loofah my stretch marks?
Loofah my stretch marks.
Dickhead.
Take us out of here. Listen, see you at the Stay Low and Go. Catch us in the next. We're going to be coming out soon, bro, with the spotlight on soon. As soon as it lifts, you know what I mean. We can get back out on the street. You know what I'm saying? Chief Steve will be revealed soon. Coming soon, bro. That shiny personality of his, and that's all I got. Stay low, Danny. Thank you.
It was good it was good to have you on, brother. Stay safe out there. I know you're still doing a job, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. We'll see you at the big one, baby.
All right, bud.
Stand by.